if we were to form a sales and marketing team inside of a company and we had them both be on the same page, I don't think it's as simple as saying, okay, everyone's a marketer and everyone's a salesperson. We're all just blended. I don't think it's that extreme, but it's also not separate. So how do we create a team that's a hybrid approach where maybe it's, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is the guy who was hiring you made it clear to you. And I agree that, look, you're already selling. So if I take that analogy and apply it to a marketer and say, hey, marketers on our team, we're going to want, you're already selling in your life and we can explain to you how that works. We're going to want you to participate in sales at a certain level. Well, yeah, I mean, that's going to be difficult at some level to get them to think of themselves as any degree of a salesperson. And yeah, I think likewise on the sales side, if you take someone who's a salesperson, again, I think that some people are much more oriented to sales than others, but you know, you take someone maybe not on that far into the spectrum who's just like a hunter and wants to just make $1 million a year and sell whatever it takes to do it. But like on the further end where you're saying, okay, you're not a marketer, but you kind of need to understand what we're doing with marketing and how that really matters to what you're doing on the sales side. Yeah. What does that look like? And how does that operate on a day-to-day? And I think it's going to be different from industry to industry and size of company and size of team and all that. But then how do you define those roles? You know, because it comes back to hiring and, okay, we're hiring you to be our, you know, person. And what do you call that? Because people are defined by their role, their title as well. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You know, the only thing close to that probably all of us have experienced, and I saw it a lot when I was in industry, you know, the common term is like account-based selling, where you have account teams, an expert, you know, you bring your person that does those things. I think that's the only thing that resembles it right now. But you know, if you're an N of one and you have to do a lot of different things, you know, back to the EMS analogy, you know, I may have to enter a burning building to use my medical skills. Right. So I have to be able to do both. Right. And I have to be able to do that. The thing that you just raised, that's a bigger issue, and not to go into the academic side of stuff, but you use the word role. Right. And when you bring somebody in and they do it, there is a thing that's very profound, and it's called role ambiguity. Yeah. And if you talk to your experts in any of us, you don't even need to be, I mean, just somebody that's in a company doing business, if one's role is ambiguous, in other words, it's always changing, or, you know, you brought me on the team to be a first baseman, and now I came in today and you put me in center field, or you brought me on to be what, and now you brought me in to do this. And just for 2 seconds, an analogy that might get to what you're talking about, it doesn't answer it, but it's an analogy to it that I think makes a lot of sense to me. It's a sports analogy, but think of like a baseball team. Or I used to play a lot of tournament softball back in the day, so maybe we'll use softball. Yeah. And I was a pitcher. So if you asked me, what are you on the team? What's your position? What do you do? Well, I'm the pitcher. Right. Okay. So if you were asking that question of somebody in a company, they would say, well, I'm in marketing, or I'm in finance, or whatever it is that I'm doing. But to use the analogy of a tournament softball team, what do I do as a pitcher when that's my defined role? And let's say there's a left-handed batter, if you could imagine, and they hit a really strong rip a ground ball between first and second base, right? Follow the thought. Sure. First baseman dives for it. Second baseman dives for it. Let's say first baseman makes the play, laid out sideways, and they're down on the ground, but they made the play. We now have a problem. That person that hit that hard ground ball is going as hard as they can down the first base line, and the first baseman with the ball is laying on their side. Yes. We have a problem. So the question is, who covers first base? Yes. And the answer without any hesitation is, well, the pitcher covers first. Right. But in a company, you know what my response would be? No. That's not my job. Yes. I'm the pitcher. That's a great analogy.